by Miss Lisa from China. She will present the case studies on REACH registration. Miss Lisa.
I think that's easier.
Easier presentation.
For the compliance mode, for EU-REACH, you either purchase your data from the LR or you take the LR yourselves. For China REACH, different companies, they do their registration on their own. So even if the same substance, two different companies, they do the registration twice. So the mode is more of a testing report plus notification docile. And for EU-REACH, it's a forced data sharing mechanism via LR and the Substance Information Exchange Forum. In China REACH, we do serial notification. Serial notification is where one company, they can do registration for a serial of products, very similar products. In this case, they can do one registration for a list of very similar substances. It's called serial notification. And they can also do joint notification. Joint notification means that, so for one substance, 2 or 3 or more than 2 companies, they can register this substance together. And also joint serial submission notification, where more than 2 companies, they register more than 2 substances. And also repeated notification is when one company finished the registration for one substance, and then later on another company want to register the same substance, they can ask the previous company to supply their data, the data and testing report to them, for them to do a repeated notification. Or re-notification. Re-notification is where a company, they want to upgrade their tonnage band, or they want to change the legal identity. They can do a re-notification. And for data requirements, in EU-REACH, for intermediate, you don't need to generate any more data. You just give them your existing data and some other requirements. For general substance, there are data requirements are in the Annex 7 to 9. And also there are testing proposal for some very complicated long-term experiments. The testing proposal should be submitted and approved beforehand. For China REACH, the data requirements, it depends on the type of registration you are going to. For research and development record, there is no data requirements. And for simplified notification special condition, there is also no data requirements. But for simplified notification general condition, you need to generate ecotoxicological data. And for typical notification, the physical data and healthy toxicological data, ecotoxicological data are all required. For CSR, the chemical safety report requirements for EU-REACH, for tonnage band above 10 tons per year, the chemical safety report will be required. But for in China REACH, only typical notification, the chemical safety report is required. And for testing method required, so for in EU-REACH physical data, it can be non-OECD GLP lab data. But for other other data, it needs to be OECD GLP or GLP mutual acceptance of data system. It needs to come out from either one of them. But for in China REACH, the China chemical testing method is really well accepted, and also some the data used in EU REACH registration, some of the OECD GLP data, we also think it's reliable, and also some other internationally accepted method. And testing report, it's better to provide testing report. For docile evaluation, in EU REACH, it's firstly machine reviewed, and there will also be manual checks afterwards. And when you finish registration, they will give you a registration number. But for China REACH, we will do a formal review and expert review. Expert review is where different experts of the toxicologist, they will sit down together and evaluate your docile. And when you finish the registration, they will give you a notification certificate. That's all for the presentation. And our company does not only offer EU REACH registration or China REACH registration, we also offer China hazardous chemical registration. And also in the US, the TSCA compliance service, we also do that. And we also are able to offer our help in, offer our service in K-REACH and kosher registration service. That's registration in Korea, and also in Taiwan, and Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Finland, Philippines, and Australia, Japan. We have plenty of experience in dealing with local authorities there, and we can facilitate your chemical compliance in these countries. And also we do CAS number application, and also plans regulation compliance verification service. And also in EU there's the F-gas regulatory compliance service too. That's the chemical notification part. So in our company we also have food and food related department, food and food related regulatory department, and cosmetic department, and pesticide and biocide, and medical devices. So there are plenty of divisions in our company. If you have any inquiries regarding these kind of things, you're welcome to contact us. And these are our partners. So we've been established ever since 2007. So we have a lot of partners in different countries. So I listed here, RMT is Australia one, and Chemical Watch India. So these are our clients. In India, I think Dove Hotel. I'll give you a quick view of our clients. Thank you. That's pretty much for today. Our booth is at E19A. If you have any questions, you're welcome to our booth. And if you have any questions, you also can drop me an email. That's my email address at the bottom. Thank you. Thank you much for your attention today. Hope you have a nice day later.
Thank you, Ms. Lisa, for the extensive pictorial representation of various REACH and Chinese REACH processes. we thank you for your presentation, and we have planted 3 trees on your behalf in our state of Karnataka. We are presenting you with this certificate of plantation as a token of appreciation.
Hello? 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 Hi everybody, I'm Lisa. Sorry, wait a second. Thank you very much for the previous speaker's presentation. I hope everyone here get a brief view on the understanding of EU REACH registration. I'm Lisa from China. I'm from Chemical Inspection and Regulation Service Limited. So we are a company based in, headquartered in China, Hangzhou. We also have our office in Ireland and the USA too. So we are a leading product safety management company. We provide service in regulation service in industrial chemicals, cosmetics, food and food-related products, and also medical devices, pesticides, and biocides. If you have any questions regarding this kind of substance regulations, you can contact us. So CIRS was first established in 2007. Ever since then, we have been a stable OR for EU REACH registration. And now, currently, we have more than 250 employees. Most of them hold PhDs or masters in chemistry, bioscience, or food science. And now we have more than 4,000 clients worldwide. So what have we achieved so far? We've successfully submitted more than 550 different substance dociles to ECHA and successfully passed the registration check. And among them, there are more than 1,000 full registration docile, and more than 10,000 are pre-registration docile, and more than 100 are letter registration docile. I hope you've got an idea of letter registration docile from the previous speaker's slide. And also for China REACH, I'm not sure if you're familiar with China REACH, which I will give a presentation later on, give you a more detailed view on China REACH. We've successfully obtained more than 120 China REACH certificate. And also annually, every year we create more than 5,000 safety data sheets for our clients in different countries using different local languages. Today I'm going to give you a small introduction of EU REACH, and also I'll go deep into EU REACH registration scope, deadline, and procedure. And also, when in practice, we get a lot of inquiries from our clients asking about intermediate registration, and also LR letter registration docile preparation. So after talking briefly about EU REACH registration, I'll focus on intermediate registration and also the LR projects. And after that, I'll give you a Q&A session where I will summarize some of the questions we get from our clients and also answer these questions, so hopefully you can find it helpful to you. And lastly, I'll do a comparison between China REACH and EU REACH. There are some similarities, but there are differences too. So what is REACH? REACH is short for registration, evaluation, and authorization and restriction of chemicals. It first took effect on June 1st, 2007, and the authorities are European Chemical Agency, which is also called ECHA, ECHA, and the member states authorities in European countries. So what is registration? Registration is that for substance imported or manufactured above 1 ton per year, then this kind of substance, they need to be registered under REACH. And the registration domicile needs to be submitted to ECHA, the European Chemical Agency. And evaluation, there are two parts of evaluation. First one is the domicile evaluation, which after you submit your domicile, ECHA will evaluate this domicile. And unqualified domiciles will be required to be updated within due time. And the second part is the substance evaluation, where ECHA will, based on the hazardous property of these chemicals, and they will select some of the substance with very high risk. And authorization means that after ECHA selected a very high-risk substance, they form a list. And this kind of list is called authorization substance list. These substances are required to go through authorization before due date. This can be done at the same time with the registration. Sometimes you have to do registration and also authorization for your substance. And for restriction, it doesn't mean that it's completely banned in Europe. It depends on which type of restriction are your substance facing. The first one, maybe it's be restricted for the use in some of the products for, so say washing dishes, the detergent. Maybe there are some substances that are clearly banned from using in that product. And also there are restrictions to be used by customers. So there are some substances that are forbidden in Europe to use by their clients, by public customers. And there are also some of the substances that's completely banned from using in EU, so you cannot export it at all to Europe. Today I'm going to focus on the registration part. So who is to carry out the registration? So who is the registration body? It can be EU manufacturers, EU importers, and for non-EU manufacturer formula or article producer, they are only able to register by assigning an only representative. So what is an only representative? Only representative is a legal identity based in Europe that does all the registration work for their clients, for their non-EU companies, and also they take most of the responsibilities and risks in the meanwhile. So for example, if you're like say Indian manufacturer of your products, and then you want to export your products to Europe, to your importer, your EU importer, importer A, B, C, if importer A and B has been fully registered this substance, while for importer C, they have never done registration for this product before, in this case, you are able to export your products to importer A and B, who has already finished the registration for this product. However, for importer C, because you haven't done any registration, and importer C has either never done this before, you are not allowed to export your products to Europe, to importer C. However, if you come to us and say, okay, what about CIRS? Can you help us to get a registration? Surely we can do that. We are a very stable and qualified OR. So we get your product registered. In that case, you can sell your products to every importer in the Europe as you like. A, B, C. It's all legally supported. Now let's have a look at what kind of substance needs to be registered under EU REACH. If your substance is a polymer, then polymer itself is exempted from EU REACH registration, but you have to do monomer registration. And also for monoconstituent substance, multi-constituent substance, UVCB substance like dyes or pharmaceutical intermediate, they have to be registered. And also for mixture itself does not need to be registered, but different components in that mixture needs to be registered. And for articles, if there are some substance in the article that is intended to be released then it needs to be submitted to, needs to be registered to. And listed down below are some of the substances that are exempted from registration, say human and animal pharmaceuticals, food additives, flavors, feed additives, cosmetics, and there are some substances listed in Annex 4 and 5. You can check if your substance are listed in the Annex 4 and 5. If so, they are also being exempted. And also recycling substance in Europe. So EU REACH registration, after being implemented on 2007, June 1st, the pre-registration started from June 1st, 2008. It has been around more than 10 years now. And for different substance and different usage and different tonnage, they have different deadlines. The nearest deadline now is 1 month away from us. It's May 31st, 2018, which is for those general substance with tonnage around from 1 ton per year to 100 ton per year. This time is, like the deadline is coming, so for our enterprises, it's better to take steps now if you haven't done any registration, but you wish to continue your trade with Europe after the deadline. It's better to take action as soon as possible. So what is the procedure of getting the products registered? So first of all, you have to know your portfolio. That's to say, you have to know which kind of substance in your products needs to be registered. What is the CAS number? What is the tonnage band? What is the usage of your substance in Europe? And whether you are doing it by yourself or asking the EU importer to do the registration for you. If you are doing it on your own, as a non-EU manufacturer, the only way to do it is to ask an only representative like us. And after you know what substance, what tonnage band, and what usage you are using for your product, then you are going to find your co-registrant. These co-registrants are similar companies as yourself. Maybe they are exporting the same substance as you do. You need to find them, you need to communicate with them, you need to share the cost of the data, experiments done before. There are two scenarios here. The first one is there is already a letter registrant who has already finished all the registration. In this case, you need to find the letter registrant and ask them to share the cost, share the data to you, and you have to pay the data fee. There are a second scenario where there is no letter registrant at the moment. Then you need to communicate with your co-registrant and say, let's select one company to be the LR for us. And that LR will carry out all the experiments for that substance. And then this data will be shared within the co-registrant through a forum, which is called Substance Information Exchange Forum. So there is a joint data sharing mechanism in this forum. So after getting all your data, then you need to assess the exposure scenario of your substance when they're being used in Europe. And having collected all this information, we will be able to help you to prepare the docile. And in this process, that's where service fee is generated. After prepare the whole docile, you're eligible to submit the registration docile to ECHA. And in this submission, you need to pay the ECHA, the European Chemical Agency, the administration fee. Until then, you will be finished with the registration, but that doesn't mean that you can relax and sleep. You have to keep your docile up to date. So that's some data, statistic data from ECHA's website. From last year, the end of last year, to March 1st of this year, ECHA has received more than 16,000 registration dociles for more than 7,000 substances. It's quite a lot of work to do for them. And among which more than 4,600 substances are registered for the first time. So that means a lot of companies are doing it for the first time for their products. And what will happen after you finish the registration? First of all, your old docile, which are already submitted to ECHA, will be checked retrospectively for completeness. If ECHA find that you are not submitting all the data needed, they will note you with email saying that you need to make up for the data. And sometimes when LR submit their LR docile, there are some part of the testing data is not complete. And in this case, ECHA may contact your LR saying that you need to make more data from the experiments. And when your LR spend more time and money in getting this data out, they may generate some data fee. So that's why when you ask the LR before, how much does it cost for me to submit the to purchase this data, they will give you a figure. And afterwards, maybe 3 months later, you ask them again, maybe the cost is higher. It's highly possible in this case that they've been asked by ECHA to make up more data. And the second thing is all EU countries are foreseen to participate in the registration application after the deadline in cooperation with customer authorities. That means if you don't have a registration code after deadline, you may not be able to export your products to Europe anymore, because at the customer clearance procedure, you will need to provide them the registration code. And also, they will do a verification of SME and strictly controlled intermediates. So the previous speaker gave a little introduction on the SME. So when you are micro or small enterprises, when you apply for the discount on the administration fee, then after you submit your docile, they will do a verification if you are qualified as an SME to apply for this discount. The fine for fake SME companies can be really high. So it's better to do what you, to tell them what you really are instead of faking. And also for intermediate registration, there are reduced cost and reduced data requirements. So they are also will be verifying this criteria if you are satisfying the intermediate registration criteria. So all in all, after finish the registration, you need to keep your docile up to date. So in practice, when we were doing the registration work, we came across a lot of questions from our clients. And most of them, most Indian clients, they always ask me, what is the intermediate registration? First of all, I would like to tell why we want to do intermediate registration. So for intermediate registration, we usually enjoy the reduced registration cost of fee, which this kind of this part of the fee is paying to ECHA. If you fulfill some of criteria for intermediate, then you can have reduced registration fee, and also it will have limited registration information requirements, and also intermediates, strictly controlled intermediates, are exempted from docile evaluation and substance evaluation. So what is intermediate after all? Intermediate is a substance that is manufactured for or consumed in or used for chemical processes in order to be transformed into another substance. For example, A and B are used for the production of C, but A and B and C, these three substances are different chemical substances, and A and B in this case are intermediates. So what is strictly controlled conditions? Only intermediates that fulfills the strictly controlled conditions are eligible to apply for restricted administration fee and also restricted data requirements. So the first criteria is that the substance is rigorously contained by technical means during the whole life cycle. And the second one is the procedure and control technology are used to minimize the emission and any resulting exposure. And the third one is only properly trained and authorized personnel are handling the substance. And also, in case of cleaning and maintenance work, special procedures such as purging and washing are applied before the system is opened and entered. And also, in case of an accident where the waste is generated, procedure or control technologies are used to minimize emissions. And also, substance handling procedures are well documented and strictly supervised by the site operator. So these 6 criteria, if you fulfill all these 6, you can ask your EU importer to sign a self-statement of strictly controlled condition. If you get the signature of your EU importer, then you will be able to apply for the intermediate docile. But afterwards, when you finish the intermediate docile registration, the ECHA authorities will come to your EU importer's on-site factory to check if this substance are used in these in so mentioned situations. That's intermediate registration, and now I'm going to give a brief view on the lead registrant projects. This kind of project is very complicated. It's a better, when you understand this, I think you'll have a better understanding of the whole REACH registration, how the LR works. So what is the benefits of LR projects? So if you choose, why should I be the LR rather than be the member registrant? If you are the lead registrant, who is the main piece of people in charge of everything, then you will gain a full control over the registration cost in the process. You can decide which lab you want to cooperate with to carry out these experiments. And also, you will have access to the global registration information of the substance, because every other company who wants to register the substance, they need to come to you to ask you to share the data with them. So you will be able to know all your competitors globally. And in that way, it will increase your company's influence within the industry. And lastly, by selling the data later on, it will be possible for you to gain some profits, because say you've registered one substance and you spend so much money on it. And later on, when other people ask you for the data, you can set your own price, but it has to be reasonable. But in some case, when you are selling to a lot of different companies your data, it's possible that you can gain some profits in the meanwhile, because you've spent so much money and so much time and efforts in preparing this docile. We've done quite a lot of LR projects so far, and this diagram shows how different kinds of work we need to do in an LR project for our clients. So meaning there are 5 parts. The first one is the SIF operation. And SIF, as I explained before, is short for Substance Information Exchange Forum. It's a place where different co-registrants discuss and share the data and the cost. So what we do, we will do a registration intent research for all the pre-registered who has pre-registered this substance before, and we will ask them if they can provide us any existing data for this substance. And also, we will draft the SIF agreement and also establish the data sharing mechanism. So we will say what kind of rules we need to obey in SIF. And after, say, we collect some of the existing data from the co-registrant, we will do a data gap analysis. So we will evaluate what kind of data we have already got and what are other data we need to get. And we will contact the labs. We have our lab collaborators in Europe, in America, they're all GLP labs. we'll contact them and say, let's do this test because we need this test results for our client's registration domicile. And sometimes we'll also use CIRS and read across. It's a better computing way to, like, instead of doing research test experiments in the lab, we can use our computer. CIRS and read across data can be generated by our experts in our team, which will save a lot of money for our clients. And having collected all the required data from the lab, from the computer, or from our co-registrant, we will also then we'll be able to make the domicile. Before making the domicile, we'll also ask our clients what their company information are, what's the manufacturer and usage and exposure information, and also we'll ask our clients to provide the safety data sheet. So having got all that information and data, we will be able to prepare the domicile. For tonnage band above 10 tons per year, this kind of substance usually is required of a chemical safety report. We are also able to draft the chemical safety report for our clients. We need our clients to provide us the downstream user usage and exposure scenario. We'll do the exposure evaluation and exposure scenario development, and also risk assessment, and write the chemical safety report for them. So having done all of this, we'll make a complete domicile, and then we'll go to the Reach IT and submit the registration domicile. And in the meanwhile, when other people come to us, say, like, I want to do the registration too, can you share the data to us? Then we'll also do the data fee calculation based on the number of co-registrant. We will also assist you in paying the data fee and let you know, like, how do we distribute the data fee to different registrant. So that's the financial management. So we have quite a lot of projects going on for LR projects, for LR registration. And that's how it works in an LR. So for every substance, there is an LR. That's a similar mechanism. So when you buy some data from someone, from the LR, that's how we do. So we go to the thief. We ask them to share the cost, share the data and cost to us. And here is the time and cost of the LR projects. It really depends on the usage and the tonnage band. Say for example, for intermediate, less than 1,000 tons per year, the LR project registration time can be 2 to 3 months. And the cost for LR projects intermediate less than 1,000 is 10,000 euros to 20,000 euros. But it really depends on your substance, like what kind of information is needed. For general substance above 1,000 tons per year, the time taken can be 1.5 years or less. And the money cost can be 200,000 euros to 350,000 euros. It can be higher if ECHA requires extra data. This is just give a rough estimation. Really depends on your substance. So here are some Q&As. People may ask, when will I get a registration code? So if you have already submitted your registration before the end of March, it's highly possible that you will receive a reply from ECHA within 21 days. But for submission, for those that are submitted after April 1st, it may take until the end of August for you to receive a decision. And the advice from us is that if you're reluctant, you're not sure if you're to carry this registration or not, it's better to take actions now, because later on, the cost of the data fee might be higher, and the time you need to wait is longer too. It's not really economically affordable. Also, we have quite a lot of communications with ECA. We've invited them 3 times in last month. We've invited them to Shanghai to give us presentations on EU-REACH registration. And also we have asked them what will happen if we have already submitted registration, but we haven't got the registration number. The answer from them is that for phase-in substance, those substance has been on the European market for a very long time. If the registration has already been finished, then the submission code after you submit your pre-registration, submit your full registration, the submission number can be used to continue the trade. So you don't need to wait until you get the full registration number. But for phase-in substance with no pre-registration done, we are still asking ECA in this scenario what are the instructions to follow. Our companies able to export or not? We are still confirming. We'll let you know via email soon, or you can have a look at our company's website. We'll usually publish a lot of news updates on our website. However, it's quite certain that for non-phase-in substance, for new substance, that's to say, you will have to get the full registration code, full registration number before you export to EU. You may have also questions like this. What will happen if I have no registration number after the deadline? So the message we get from ECA is that afterwards they will work with customer authorities, so the inspection will be stricter than before. After deadline, if you have not get your registration number, full registration number, you will not be able to pass the customers anymore. And sometimes when we ask our substance letter registrant to share the cost, they may be very reluctant to do so because they don't want you to export, because they want to have the European market of their own. If they share the data to you, you do the registration, you will also be able to sell your products to Europe, which means you are to share the market with them. In this case, they are reluctant to do so, and they push the LOA price really high so that you cannot afford at all. It's not reasonable. It's not at all. So in this case, you can file a dispute to ECA, and ECA will assess your case and see whether you and your counterparts have made every effort possible to reach an agreement. If the LR is very unfriendly and acting very weirdly, then they will give you so from our experience, I will say, our clients faced such a letter registrant, and we filed a dispute to ECA, and then they replied to us after 1.5 months and supplied us all of the data from the LR free of charge. And in that case, we are able to help our clients to submit a registration in an opt-out way. So if there is something you find is not reasonable, it's possible, but it's very so ECA will act on your behalf. So you do not need to worry that what if they do not let me register at all. You can always do something. You can negotiate with ECA. What if you are your LR, or as an LR yourself, you have not finished registration yet before the deadline? In this case, you can contact ECHA by using this link and state what the situation are by making a reference to DCG. DCG is a direct contact group, issue 10.3. When you will receive an acknowledgement of receipt when your inquiry has been submitted, and ECHA will also give you a submission code, and this submission code will allow you to continue the manufacturer import. Like you do not need to wait until the lab gives you the results for you to finish the registration. And if you're not the LR, but your LR has not finished the registration, you can contact your LR saying that you need to contact the ECHA and to get a submission code. After your LR get a submission code, you will also be able to register. That's EU-REACH, and now I'm going to give you a brief view on China-REACH. So China-REACH, first of all, you need to know that there is an inventory, which is called inventory of existing chemical substance in China. This inventory includes around 445,643 chemicals, different chemicals. And if your substance is not included in this inventory, then in China, it is regarded as new substance. And China-REACH requires that for new chemical substance, prior to import or manufacture, then you need to notify the new chemical substance and obtain a new chemical substance environment administration certificate. This law was first issued in January 2010 and was implemented on October 15, 2010. And last year, the data requirements has been updated. Here is the comparison between China-REACH and EU-REACH for the registration authority, for the authority in charge. For EU-REACH is the legislation authority, is the European Committee, and the implement authority is the ECHA, the European Chemical Agency, and it's enforced by administrative authorities of member states. Whereas in China, the legislation department is the Ministry of Environment Protection, and the implementing authority is the Solid Waste and Chemical Management Center. And this law is enforced by the local Environment Protection Agency. So who is to register? So for EU-REACH, the registration body can be EU manufacturers, EU importers, and non-EU manufacturers, formulators, and article producers. They ask their only representative based in Europe to do so. But for China-REACH, Chinese manufacturers, Chinese importers can do the registration, but for foreign exporters, they need to assign a registration representative based in China to do so. It's quite similar to EU-REACH. And for registration range, for EU-REACH, substance above 1 ton per year needs to be registered, other than those exempted substance. And for China-REACH, those substances that are not falling into the inventory of existing chemical substance in China needs to do the new chemical substance registration. And the fees composition, so for EU-REACH, you need to pay an administration fee, data fee, and service fee. But for China-REACH, there is a new substance inquiry fee. This fee is paid to search if your substance is included in the confidential list of the inventory of existing chemical substance list. And also, there are data fee and service fee. So for registration,